Welcome to the Reese Report. I'm the mouth of the North, Andrew Reese, and I'm back with my boys, Jose Gomes and Tony Barbosa, and we are about to do an all-out review that had everything. Up, down, good, bad, and definitely ugly. This was a long show, people. A 1 hour pre-show of 5 matches and a 5 hour pay-per-view. We are not going to go over everything that happened on the show, but we will talk about where we think the show is headed, all the stuff that happened afterwards, and we're also going to have a special guest after the show, which we'll let you know about. But right now, I'm going to go through this show, and I'm going to have Tony and Jose tell me their thoughts. We all have different opinions. This is going to be a great show, guys. So here we go. Renew the Elite. Gary Joe, we will see you soon. Let's start with the pre-show. Guys, we're not going to go over the pre-show very much because this was a nothing show. And I'm just going to tell you what happened. Guys, let me know what you think. You want to throw anything in here? Ty Conte and Sammy Guevara, the newlyweds, beat Ruby and Ortiz. There was a botch in this that I noted that broke the nose of Ruby Soho because Ty Conte is a disaster in the ring. Sorry if that bothers people, but she's just green. This to me was definitely punishment, as both Sammy and Eddie were on the pre-show. Any comments at all about this match? I know Jose said, "What the heck is Ortiz wearing?"
I know. What the hell is that?
It seemed like a lucha libre style wardrobe. I don't know, man. It was
Jose,
weird.
I'm
With
not
the
kidding. When I
Yeah, I
saw
know, with
this,
the
I
face
had
painted,
no
like-
idea it was him.
I
I
know.
had
Can
to
you- I
stare
was
like,
like-
is that Ortiz? I like, what?
When Bonnie said freaking Ortiz, I'm like, Ortiz, is that the Ortiz with Santana and stuff like that from the inner circle? Like those guys?
Yeah,
Like, come on, man.
This
please.
guy went from having that wicked like ghost look with the hair
Yeah.
to having his head shaved by Jericho for God knows what reason, to wearing a face paint that you don't even recognize the guy. I feel bad for this team and for this group of guys.
I feel bad for Ruby Soho.
Yes.
Okay? Because
Yes.
for whatever happened in WWE, it's happening again.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
AEW. I don't know, and she's talented. She should have been in the title picture.
She
Anyway,
went
but
from
that's-
having one of the biggest pops a woman has ever had on this show to being the
100%.
first match on the free for all. That's all you need.
100%.
That's all need to be said.
and barely any TV time now. She barely have any TV
Yeah.
TV time.
Yeah, Jose.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't think she's like she has the talent, but I don't think she has like the mic skills.
She
And
does.
She's never really been given that chance, to talk.
Yeah,
So
she hasn't, man.
I don't know, man. I just don't know.
Anyway, move
So
on.
quickly, Hook retained over Angelo Parker. They actually gave Angelo Parker quite some a little bit of offense here.
Very surprised.
But we got the quick choke after that for the win. Nothing else to say here. Anything you guys want to say about this match?
And then you got the little thing with Action Branson coming out. So
yeah, so I guess that's where they're headed with Hook. Once again, another dominant champion who hasn't lost that they can't book. We saw this with Wardlow later on in the pay-per-view. Now we've got it with Hook. This is a problem when you have 3 champions now that have not lost. And when you have 3 champions that have not lost, you're going to have a very difficult time booking them. So this is what Tony's done. We'll see how he books out of it. We'll get to Jade later, which was predictable, and I predicted it. To a match that was the most disappointing thing I've seen from this man since he's been in AEW. Pac retained against Kip. This match I expected to be much better. This was a slow, plodding, just really like, bad match. Like no chemistry. We had Pac do a Garvin stomp like he was Randy Orton. And then he just after the Garvin stomp, he just did the red arrow for the win. This was a very lackluster and boring match. Barbosa, you can't disagree with that, can you?
I agree with what you said, man. I for a big return for Kip Sabian, they botched this feud, angle, match, however you
Yeah.
want to call it. They
Yeah.
botched it with this match.
Yeah.
Botched it.
Like I didn't mind
can't say
the
nothing.
underrated. I didn't like the mask. I didn't mind the mask thing and all
Listen,
that.
the
Like,
gimmick was pretty good. But you
yeah.
got to book it correctly.
Yeah.
Not like this.
Yeah.
So stupid. You
Yeah.
just took a great gimmick that was getting over, and you just basically buried it in one match.
So he's
So
now
it was just-
overrated
it was
and he's
pointless.
over it.
It was pointless.
Overrated and over it.
Yeah.
Jose, did you catch this at all?
No, I caught it.
Okay.
Boring. It was so slow paced. That's not a Pac match. Pac is like high flying, always like freaking electric. Like fast paced. This was like slow. Like it was like two guys that were like out of breath or something. They were audition. They mentioned it like a couple of times. I don't know if you guys mentioned in the commentary.
Yeah.
They all looks like Sabian was out of breathing.
I didn't even catch the commentary.
I mean, he hasn't worked in a while, but yeah,
I wasn't into the match.
Yeah.
So okay.
So that's it for that match, guys. Hey, this is gonna be a short pre-show. Now, I will talk about this match because this was incredible. Eddie Kingston, who looked like a very angry man, took on Ishii. Tomohiro Ishii this is number 2, I believe, right? Their second match.
Yes, they had a match in New Japan USA, I believe.
For all you guys out there who like flips and like only like flips and certain type of wrestling, they did less than everybody else combined in the first 4 matches, and this was way better than anything I saw in the first 4 matches. They just chopped the shit out of each other. They punched the hell out of each other. It was just a battle of attrition. This was great. We saw redness all over.
This wasn't a match. This wasn't a wrestling match. This was a fight.
I love this. The crowd got into it immediately. This was a great match to end the pre-show because the crowd got into it. Just back and forth, guys knocking over after punches, just collapsing to the ground. We had a kick out of Kingston's finisher. This was great. I just thought this was just amazing. Eddie did get the win after a slugfest, but the chops were great. Tony?
Those chops were just sounded like shotguns were going off in that arena, man. You can hear it, especially Kingston's chops. Oh my God. You see Ishii's chest. It was like at one point it looked like it was bubbling, like veins were like bubbling up. It was crazy.
Yeah,
that's New Japan. That's Japan strong style. That's what they're built on, right? Just chops, hard hitting, stiff. That's exactly what it was.
This was so great. I mean, we had an Hurricane, a kick out of the Hurricane. I believe he got a second Hurricane, and then I believe he did a different move to end the match. But it was just like, this was great. Jose, did you catch this?
Yes, I did. It was great. It was the best match of the pre hands down.
Yeah. This got the crowd into it for sure. The crowd was dead. The crowd was completely dead.
I'm gonna tell you guys, this is probably my favorite match of the whole night.
It was until we get to a certain tag match, which we'll get into.
Anyway,
we'll get into that. So that was the pre-show, guys. As you said, we're not going to spend too much time in the pre-show. The last match was great. I hope they push Eddie Kingston more, despite his, very personal matters with a lot of guys on the roster. Talk about CM Punk. This guy has issues with a lot of people on the roster, and as much heat as Punk. But we'll see what happens there. To a match that had great booking, a good opening match, but a very disappointing ending. If you're a fan of the match, I get why they did it, but it's the Casino Battle Royal. I'll just mention quickly the order of the guys coming out: Utah, Phoenix, Rouge, Andrade, Claudio, Penta, and then Dante Martin came in the ring. This ended quickly after the last 2 guys came in. I will mention that Andrade did a crazy flip power bomb onto a ladder. That was great. We also had another one from the top of the ladder onto a ladder that was set up at the bottom. That was great as well. Penta did a destroyer off the ladder into a table. That was great. And then out of nowhere, a bunch of masked guys come out. They hold everyone down, and then one guy climbs up to the top of the ladder, grabs the ring or the chip, and it was Stokely. Stokely reveals that it's him. Now, after this, the Joker comes out, which is the last guy.
Music with
right?
a great song.
With a great song, yes.
Rolling Stones. The name of the
Rolling
song
Stones.
Is Devil something. So
yeah,
it kind of
yes.
fit. It kind of fit.
Now you could do this by the song, or if you watch closely when this mystery guy gets into the ring, it's obvious who it is. Now we're not going to spoil it yet because we'll get to it, but if you watched him get into the ring, it's obvious who it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, they just leave it as this guy gets the ring. He has a mask on. He points his finger like this.
No, he teased. He
teased taking the mask off, does this,
and then he said no.
and leaves. So good booking here at the end. But the match was not much of anything. I mean, it was a few crazy spots and very quick, and I didn't really think it was that great a match. What'd you think, Barbosa?
It was a match. It was a so-so match. It
was
basically an angle. It was basically to get over the angle.
Yeah, this was not a normal casino battle royal match to get anyone over. I feel bad for Andrade, Phoenix, even guys like Dante, because they're just forgotten about in this match, like it was nothing. So, but I get why they did it, and you'll understand later on. Jose, did you catch this?
Yeah, I caught it. I caught all of them.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Okay, it wasn't that greatest. It's like you guys said, it wasn't a typical casino royale match, but it was meant to be for what it happened. Like, you know what I mean? So there was a couple of nice moves here and there. Like you were saying, they made a couple nice moves, but
yeah.
Those matches are like always like one of the highlights of those pay-per-views, stuff like that. But I think, hey, whatever. It was meant to be for.
They booked it for what it was.
Yeah,
exactly. To be honest,
yeah.
They booked it for what it was.
It was an angle.
Yeah, it was just for the angle.
Yeah, always best matches of the pay-per-views for one.
But can I ask you now the question?
Yeah,
it's okay. With this happening, you think that mystery man is going to be part of that stable?
No, I do not.
I hope not.
I believe that the mystery man paid those guys to help him for that one night.
I hope that's where it leads to.
Because we've seen this person pay guys off before. So it's
100%.
No, it will not. He will not be. Trust me.
I guess you're on the same page.
There's zero chance he's a part of the stable, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
To a match that was anticlimactic, something that I said was going to happen, despite Barbosa and Jose wanting different things. The obvious happened here. The Dark Order got to the finals with Mr. Hangman Page and took on the Elite. The booking of this match was very confusing. The booking of this match was disappointing for some, but it was predictable for me. Right away, the tension. This made no sense. So they get Hangman Page to join them. And then right away, there's tension between the Dark Order members and Hangman. I didn't get this at all. Why would there be tension?
No. You got to pay more close attention to the whole angle of what's going on here. Remember, Adam Page came to save the Young Bucks. About a month ago?
Correct. Yes.
From
and then didn't join them.
Adam Cole and whatever.
Right.
And they asked him to join, but he's like, "Listen, guys, I thank you for the offer, but I'm sticking with these guys."
Right.
Which, okay, I get it. That's good booking, whatever. Now, and then you get, obviously, Omega coming back, so that makes sense for the Elite. Then you got number 10 injured, which you were supposed to be the original Dark Order member. Then you have Andrade.
He took out Uno.
Andrade took out Uno. So your last resource was Adam Page. I think when number 10 was injured, they had no choice but to go to Adam Page. Just because of the whole booking of how this was going to go.
Right.
So that's why I understood the booking of the match.
Right.
You had the Dark Order minus Hangman pretty much play the heel. And which they were trying to take out Matt Jackson. They said, and Adam Page said, "Hey guys, relax. This is a match, whatever." So I understood the booking behind it.
Right.
And then when they got to Omega, that's when they got a little bit serious.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, the way they did it. So we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah. Just quickly, Kenny Omega does this flip over the top rope where he goes backwards. It looks great every time he does it. He flipped over the top rope and hit everyone with the back flip. That was good.
It's a top rope Santon. It's like a Santon bomb.
Correct. He looks great when he does it. He also came out with no limitations, no tape, no shirt.
Nothing.
He just had his full body out, so clearly he's 100% healthy. That was set up there. The entire I wrote here the entire crowd was standing when this was going on, because they had a stare down. Omega had a stare down at one point with Hangman, and the whole crowd stood and just stared at them, staring down. So maybe they're teasing something here, but I don't see them going at it anytime soon.
No. I'll give you my thoughts after. Anyway.
Right. So we had a great near fall from a one-winged angel counter, where the Omega went for it and was countered, and it was a very close three. Great near fall there. Page hits his own team with the buckshot lariat, and that leads to the win for the Young Bucks and Omega as they are the Trios champion. As I predicted, the minute the Trios titles came out, that they were going to win the titles because that's what they wanted to do with Omega's return. And also the reason why the Bucks lost the tag titles. And this goes back to something I've thought about the EVPs for a while. We'll get more into that later on when we talk about it, get into what happened after the pay-per-view. What do you think, Tony? You had a thought on the Omega Hangman confrontation?
That was just to set up the pay-per-view. What's with this whole turmoil going on? Mm-hmm. My thinking is I think they'll reunite with Adam Page. Adam Page, yeah.
Okay.
This whole thing is setting up. The way it was booked, it looked like it was a setup for them to be a team again, and the Elite. So that's where I think this is going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you do with Adam Page, especially after this show.
That you have too many factions. Like I was thinking, like, okay, you have this Stokely Hathaway faction that just started, and you need somebody to fight him. You have the Jericho Association Society, the JAS.
Yeah,
you're not gonna fight the Blackpool Combat Club forever. I have a feeling also with, but you know what? I'll get to my thoughts. What's gonna happen with the Dark Order later on? I'll tell you.
I think now that they have trios titles, they need a lot of factions because they're gonna have to defend and have matches with those titles. So that's probably why you have so many factions. But I expect them to have the titles for quite some time. Jose, what do you think of this match?
Yeah, it was like predictable, but I thought maybe like Adam Cole would have come out with something, or you know what I mean? Like, but it's predictable that they were gonna win the titles.
Yeah.
I was just maybe hoping for like somebody to come in at the end and attack him or something like that. But
they couldn't because Bobby Fish
has left the company. Yes.
And Kyle O'Reilly got into surgery. Neck fusion, right?
Yeah. So he has neck surgery, and now Adam Cole's out with a concussion. Like the whole group is injured. So yeah. So
it's crazy.
There's not a whole lot you can do there, right? So
they can go many ways with this. They can go with a Hangman versus Omega because they still haven't fought after Hangman off Omega, right? So they still haven't fought after that. They can go with Dark Order against the beating up on
Hangman Page,
and then he can join the All Elite or whatever.
I'll get to my thoughts on that later on in the card because you'll see where I'm gonna go.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that because Hangman has no direction right now, and so we're gonna see like
there's the Dark Order.
Almost by accident, he got himself like into something he probably wasn't involved with, and so that keeps his name at the front of the table. But Jose, what were you gonna say?
They have a lot of options with him, and they can book him with a lot of ways, the different ways. But I don't know, man. I still think he should fight Punk, man. I know. Well, I don't want to spoil the end, but
we'll get to that.
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll talk about it.
But it is what it is. But I think the next match for Punk it will be Hangman, just to squash the little bit of the beef that's going on backstage.
We'll talk about that after.
We'll talk about that after. I know we want to get to that, guys, but let's get to something that was obvious to me, but not obvious to the two men I'm looking at right now. We had Athena versus Jade. A very obvious thing that was going to happen, in my opinion, because there was no push at all for Athena the entire time since she's been in the company. But just to tease us a little bit, they gave an immediate quick near fall to Athena doing her finish that was immediately kicked out by Jade. Once that happened, this match was nothing and it was over because we knew Jade was going to win after that. So after that happened, I wrote nothing down about this match. I expected the Jaded at some point. I expected interference from the baddies, and we were going to get a Jade title retain, and that's exactly what happened. They showed nothing after the match. They didn't show much celebration. Athena was beat clean, and you have no direction for Jade, and Athena's already dead. What do you think? Show Tony.
I agree with 100% what you just said. The only thing good about this match, you want me to tell you what the good thing is?
What's
their
that?
Entrances and their outfits. That's it.
Yeah, Athena's entrance was great.
Yeah, and I like the She-Hulk Jade.
Yep. Yeah, she looked like Orchid from Killer Instinct.
But other than that, you just
this was nothing.
There's nothing now. What do you do with Jade, and what do you do with Athena?
Yeah. I mean, she's dead. To me, you shouldn't have even had this match if that was going to be the result.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me.
But yeah, it's quite sad now.
You know what? I get what Tony Khan is doing. He's pushing his homegrown talent, but man, it just looks bad. That woman's. I'm sorry to say, this AEW women's division is
it's dead.
Luster.
It's a dead division right now. When you have Ruby Soho and Athena come in, and they both get jobbed out to Jade, that doesn't create any interest. It doesn't create any interest at all. And we'll get to the other side, which may be even less interesting. Jose, any comments on this match?
No, you said
that's it.
You said it perfect.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say.
With Jade or Kate, whatever his name is, Cargill.
Yeah,
what do they do with her? Like, what are you who's the next one to challenge her?
I honestly don't know what they're gonna do and where they go from here.
Listen. The only thing that you can do right now is a title for title. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
What's that gonna do for Tony Storm? Because she's just gonna get beat. So like she's already dead.
Listen.
I mean, yeah.
But anyway, I just booking's very bad.
We'll get to that. The women's division, I'm sorry to say, it's dead right now, and we'll get to the reason why it's dead. In addition to this match later on. To a match that disappointed me. I believe it disappointed Jose as well. This was the Motor City Machine Guns with Jay Lethal against Wardlow and FTR. This is the first time I'd seen the Motor City Machine Guns. They did talk about how legendary a tag team they were. They probably should have showed more video of these guys beforehand or
100%.
pushed it a little sooner.
100%.
But what we got here was the Wardlow Powerbomb Symphony. And that was it. Like, I didn't write anything that stood out in this match because it didn't feel like it did. So
in this match, honestly, you didn't need Jay Lethal and Wardlow.
Go ahead, Jose. Go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
You didn't need Wardlow and Jay Lethal. Why don't you just make it a tag match? Somehow take it out, and take out Wardlow and Jay Lethal and just go the teams at each other. It would have been a much better match. What do you think, Jose?
I think so. I think too. And I'm surprised that the Motor City got those for what they were in the TNA Impact and stuff like that. I thought they would be much better, man. I thought they would freaking show.
They had some good showing in the beginning, and then I don't know. It kind of because it turned into the Wardlow show.
Exactly.
That's what it was always going to be. It was always going to be about Wardlow.
Here we go. This is the problem again. Here we go. We have the problem with Wardlow.
Yeah.
How do you book Wardlow? What do you do with Wardlow?
I don't know. Like, and now we'll talk about later on one of his opponents that could have, like, they don't even have anyone set up after this pay-per-view for him.
Yeah. I disagree. I'll get to that point after.
Okay.
I disagree.
Hobbs against them.
And there you go. That's how I was gonna go, because Hobbs, the way he beat Ricky Starks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too, right?
Why would you put Hobbs against him and have him lose?
Not yet. Okay, there's a difference. You got to build Hobbs a little bit more, and then you got Luchasaurus too, eh? You got Luchasaurus coming.
But Luchasaurus is gonna go with the Jungle Boy now.
Yeah, he is.
But that's what I'm saying. You're slowly building these guys for Wardlow. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You gotta you can't just feed him, because you'll bury Hobbs right away. You give him to Wardlow right away. That's it. It's done.
And you got push. A big guy, what's that? Big Cass, whatever. What's his name?
No.
Well, they put him in a stable right away, so that
you're gonna ruin him right away if you put him in a match with Wardlow. He's dead. He's dead before he even gets going. He's dead.
So we'll talk. We have a match coming after this, and we'll talk more about this as we get to that match. I just want to point out that Samoa Joe comes out for the save, and then this was a great moment in the show. Dax's daughter comes out and just slaps the shit out of Sanjay Dutt, which was great. Breaks the pencil. That was a great moment. Hugs the dad. This was a great moment. I gotta say that was a great ending to the show. But again, like, the focus is on Wardlow. FTR were an afterthought on this pay-per-view, as were the Motor City Machine Guns. And it's like, to me, you are better off having Wardlow in a squash match and having FTR face the Motor City Machine Guns for the titles. That would have been better than doing this. So
100%.
I mean, just again, a waste. FTR was supposed to take on the Bucks in this pay-per-view, and this was a waste of FTR. I hate to say it. And a waste of bringing in the Machine Guns. I mean, it would have been better if those two had went out for the first time. So this was not much of anything. I have a feeling they're going to set up
a match at the next ROH pay-per-view.
Right.
Between the Machine Guns and FTR.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I hope that's where they go anyway.
Right.
So that's me.
But then aren't the Motor City guys, aren't they part of the Impact?
Yeah, Impact. Yeah, they
are.
Yes.
They even made
reference to it. They made reference to it. But that would be a nice little, a nice. What are you gonna do? Go to the Briscoes again in FTR? You don't want to do that again,
right?
Yeah, you got to give them a team. So the Motor Machine Guns make perfect sense. They were both in ROH. Alex Shelley was a former ROH champion, and I think they even were ROH champions together, if I'm not mistaken. So
we'll talk more about the tag titles when we get to that match. Quickly, we'll go to Hobbs versus Starks. This was set up well. This was this was very, very good non-title match. I was shocked, not by who won, because I expected Powerhouse Hobbs to win. Yeah. What I was shocked by was how it was not very competitive at all.
Well, that's because of the pay-per-view is too long.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Powerhouse Hobbs got a random counter.
A storyline like this needs more time in the pay-per-view.
Well, this is not the last match, although I'll say this, the way it was booked, the way this was booked, it was like this feud was over, because there was no cheating, there was no interference, there was nothing.
Clean.
It was a counter off. Starks got overzealous, ran at Powerhouse Hobbs, who gave him a spine buster that didn't look great, by the way, and just 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, that's it. Like, it just felt anticlimactic. It wasn't a long match. There wasn't much offense from Starks. And it was like a match with a green guy against a guy who had to put him over. And it was the right guy won, but the way it was done, it's like, why would you go back to that? And Starks has lost again. And it's like, okay, I understand he's switching babyface and he's over and he's got great promo ability, but you can't beat a babyface so much that the crowd loses interest in him. So, interesting booking. What did you guys think of this, Jose? What did you think of this?
Oh, it was like, I don't know if I found it like they could have wrestled a little bit more and give Ricky Stark a little bit of more of a chance. You know what I mean? Like, I think it was really quick and stuff like that. But like they have to push Hobbs. I think they're pushing towards Wardlow to make him all this big dominant guy, and then he'll face Wardlow for the title. And I think they'll probably have their still beef a couple of matches here and there and stuff like that. But that's like a Dynamite type of thing, big match on Dynamite with 20-minute limit.
Agreed.
It does make sense to set up Hobbs and Wardlow just a little further down the road. What I noticed was the size difference was crazy here. It's like what could Starks do to him? He couldn't do any of his offense. Even if you speared him, it wasn't going to look good. He can't do his what's that move called? Low Shambo. He couldn't do that. No. So like Starks was in a position where it's like, I can't do anything to this guy. So I guess in that respect, it was booked fine. Barbosa, what do you think of this?
I told you, Hobbs had needed to go over.
Yeah,
as I expected. I didn't think it was going to be this clean.
Neither did I.
Okay, this is one of the beefs I have with this pay-per-view. Too many matches. You don't give them enough time, especially a match like this. You got to tell a story. You know, the whole story of this match should have been Ricky Starks trying to bring Power Hobbs down and how he would do it, and obviously the ending would be Hobbs to win. But it's just.
See, the problem is now you put two guys who are on the edge of superstardom or trying to go up, and you killed one guy, and you know what? You know what I mean? Like, what do you do with Starks now?
I'll tell you what.
What do you do with Starks now? Yeah,
you kind of killed both in a bit, because on a match like this, you gotta make each other
look good, right?
It didn't feel it did not feel like they made each other in this match.
One way.
This was very close to a squash. Very close.
Exactly. I mean, it's like a squash.
Yeah.
They didn't make each other. A match like this, with a storyline like this, it should have been a match that both men would be made in the match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This has just felt
You know what? Like Kingston and Ishii. You left that match thinking both guys were great and one guy won. That didn't happen in this match. Yeah.
No, it just killed. It just kind of killed the whole story.
Yeah, I think Ricky Starks as a face is a nice idea, but it might not fit him as a wrestler.
No, he can be a face. I think he can be a face with the right heel. I think he can get over, but
yeah, I just don't know who you put Ricky Starks against now. Like, I don't know what you do with him now after this.
Just I'll get to my thoughts after my last match.
Okay. All right. To my match of the night, Swerve and Our Glory, the tag champs that no one knows are the tag champs, versus the Acclaimed, who are easily the most over tag team in the division right now, one of the most over acts in the division right now. This was incredible. These guys came in. Now, I didn't write down the rap, guys. The rap was fine, but it wasn't your typical really hot rap that they usually do. We had an immediate "Scissor Me Daddy" chant, like a loud "Scissor Me Daddy" chant immediately when he comes out. A "Daddy Ass" chant right after that, loud, the crowd standing. A huge cheer after the Acclaim cleared the ring. Like, just they cleared the ring and just everyone went nuts. Then we had a long scissor tease that ended up with them scissoring each other. This was great. Crowd was into this. Then when Swerve went on the offense, the crowd chatted at him, "You can't scissor," which was great. I thought that was funny. They just said "You can't scissor" over and over again. They had a Bowens chant. Like this was just crazy. We had Bowens chants. We had AEW chants. Like, this is the original AEW team that everyone loves. And I mean, they can't be more over than this. We had crazy near falls here. I'm talking, this crowd was hanging on every near fall. We had one where the Acclaim did their move, did a mic check for a near fall. The whole crowd cheered. Oh, they also did their move from the top rope with the elbow drop from Max, and that was a very close near fall that got the crowd going. There was a cheating spot that almost led to a 3, which the whole crowd owed about. That was great. We had then I believe there was an opportunity at the top rope that was reversed by Keith Lee, and then Sir Strickland did the jumping leg off the top rope and pinned the Acclaimed to a very disappointed crowd who wanted this title change and wanted the Acclaimed to win. I thought this match was great. I thought the crowd was great. The heat was great. The Acclaimed soaked it all in and played the crowd every moment they could. This was an amazing match. Even Billy Gunn got involved in this and was great during the whole match. The wrong team went over, in my opinion. This is one of those matches where you see what the crowd reaction, you call an audible, and you have the Acclaim win the titles. I think Swerve and Our Glory are dead champions. Nobody cares that they're the champions, and I don't know where you go with them. The Acclaim should have won the belts. Barbosa, what do you think?
I'll tell you where this is going. This is why I see there's I don't know if you guys caught it. There's a couple of times that
they screwed up. Yes.
Swerve and Keith Lee were not on the same page.
Yes, I did see that those two times. Yes. Yeah.
That's why I think the right team won.
But they didn't even do anything. Like they didn't have any dissension at all after that.
Wait, it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
The Acclaim will get the titles. I think you're gonna have one more match between somebody else and obviously Swerve and Our Glory.
Right.
They're gonna tease more attention, and then I think you'll have the Strickland heel turn in the match when the Acclaim face Keith Lee and.
I mean, they went over clean. Like it's not like they even cheated. Matter. They went over clean, right?
But it's gonna it's the setup. It's all it is. It's to set up their storyline of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland.
Jose, what'd you think?
Oh, it was a great match. The crowd was in it. I think that was the match that the crowd was most going crazy about.
Agreed.
Yeah. Of all the matches, the crowd wanted. This was the match they were into the most, even more than the main event.
Like you said, the crowd did want the Acclaim to win and stuff like that. But I don't know why they kept the titles with Keith Lee. But
it's to set up the angle, guys.
Maybe it's
set up the angle, man.
There will be a churn. There will be.
They're going to split up.
But I don't know. It's going to be the. I don't think it's going to be the Acclaim.
It is going to be the Acclaim. You have to after this whole paper after the last little run, you have to put the.
There is no other tag team right now they can put the belts on. There's no other tag team. The Bucks have the trios titles. But I mean, you could do FTR, but I don't think that's going to.
The Acclaim has got to be the champ. The way the crowd is into them right now, they have to be the champs.
Yeah, and FTR doesn't need the titles. That's obvious. FTR doesn't need the titles. The Acclaim needs the titles. There's no question. And if they want the division to be hotter and more interesting, you give them the titles. I guess in that respect, you could say it was a good move to keep the titles on Swerve, but only if the Acclaim actually win the titles.
It will last only for one more. It's only gonna last. This was the only pay-per-view. The next pay-per-view, that's where it's going.
Now, for those who did not see this, and I will mention this, Swerve and Our Glory did interview at the press conference after, and they very obviously made it clear that Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee are not on the same page. When Keith Lee was doing his interview, he was talking about respecting the Acclaimed and the crowd and how he was really happy to be a part of the match and into it. Swerve Strickland was having none of it. He didn't give a damn about the crowd. He didn't give a damn about the Acclaim. He was just, I got to prove myself, get it done. I don't care about the fans, the crowd. So they're on different pages, so you could sense that a turn was going to come.
Yeah.
And I get it that they want to do it because you want to have a Swerve Keith Lee program after that to get them over as single guys, which is what you want, but they got to get those titles on the Acclaimed. I think that there's no other team. Like, if they put it on anyone else, it'll be a disappointment to the crowd.
I agree with you. It's gotta be the Acclaimed.
This reminds me, and it's not the same level, but it reminds me of when Daniel Bryan didn't win the Royal Rumble, and they had Rey Mysterio come out last, and then I think Randy Orton or Batista won the Royal Rumble, and the whole crowd hated him. Didn't want anything to do with him in the main event. They turned on him. They booed him, and they forced Bryan into the match. That's what's going to happen with the Acclaimed. They'll get the titles eventually. Yeah. Maybe at that Grand Slam show or something, they'll do it. I don't.
Maybe.
So that was that match. Great match. Terrible finish in my opinion. But I now that I've talked to my friends here, I get it. So we'll see. To a match that I had zero interest in going in. As you guys, if you've watched me on the show, I had zero interest in this match. It was a little more interesting because they made it a four-way. I will admit that, Tony. I agree with you, not Barbosa, Tony Khan. Okay, I heard you talk about how bad Rosa is on the mic and how you'd rather have CM Punk do an 8-minute promo than Rosa throwing her under the bus. I hear you. I agree with you. But if you're going to book your champion like that, of course she's not going to succeed. So Tony was right in that respect. But I will say this. Despite this being a little more interesting because it was a four-way, this match was boring. I'm sorry, guys. Jamie Hayter immediately got cheered when she came out. She had a wicked outfit on, which gave me hope that she might actually win this match. She looked different than she ever had coming out to a match. She wasn't with Britt Baker. They gave her own entrance, her own music. So I thought, okay, maybe they're going to swerve us here. Maybe she's going to win the title. Boy, did they tease me, and I was not happy about it. But hey, that's part of being a booker, right? There was a hater chant immediately. The minute she went on offense, the crowd was all over. Looks like I'm not the only person who likes Hater and wants her to win, because the crowd was on Hater for this match. She was the only person who had any heat in this match at all. Baker screws over Hater. As I said, there was a near fall where Hater did her finish. And boy, did they make it a near fall, because she was literally on 2.5 when Britt Baker pulls her out of the ring. Good call, guys. Jose especially pulls the ring out. Immediate boos. The turn is certainly there, and if it hasn't happened, it will happen already. Right after that, almost immediately,
Toni Storm gives
Baker
her a finish.
Well, Baker tries to pin. What Baker does, she does a move, a curb stomp, tries to pin Hater right after, and gets a kick out. Then she tries to pin Sheeta, I believe, after that, gets a kick out. And then right after that, Storm does a double arm DDT, I believe, and gets the win. And you could hear a pin drop. As I told you to, you'd hear a pin drop. Nobody cared that Toni Storm won the titles.
No, the whole match.
At all. Nobody cared.
The whole match fell flat. Felt lackluster. And the crowd was, you could tell the crowd wasn't into it.
Nobody cared at all.
That's either not. I don't think it's to the women's fault.
No,
it's just bad booking, long pay-per-view.
Yeah.
However you want to slice it, it's all it was.
And Tony made it worse. Like, we already knew Toni Storm was going to win, or most of us knew, right? But then when you throw Rosa under the bus, and make it obvious that Tony's going to win, it takes away from the match that you actually added more interest to. And so people went in there saying, the last thing we want is her to win. Let's get Hater to win this match. So she got cheered right away. And of course, Toni goes over. She has zero heat, no direction. What do you guys think happens now? Jose, what do you think of this match? I
said, now it's going to be a Britt Baker and Hater. They're going to have a nice little feud.
That'll be good.
And yeah, going to be good. And then the problem is who are they going to put up against Toni Storm?
There's nobody. There's absolutely nobody out there. All the focus is going to be on Hater and Britt.
That's what I'm thinking. They're going to have to put a title versus title against Cargill.
Man.
And they, or somebody else is going to come out from like surprise women. Like, I don't know. If it's. I think maybe
the only person that makes sense for them to come out and I'll tell you this, if this person does come to AEW, they should do the same thing as she was booked when she went first thing into the WWE, which is Paige.
Paige? You think so?
That's the only thing. And get her to win the title right away. You want to shock people? That's how you do it. You want to get that division back? That's how you do it.
Or you do a Sasha Banks. She's
headed back. She's headed back. Yeah.
Listen, the only one is Paige.
Yeah.
The only one that makes sense.
But here's the problem with that. I agree with you on Paige. But if you have Paige come in and she's been off with injury for years, hasn't wrestled in years, and you put her over Jade Cargill, you might be hurting your division more.
Whoa. I didn't say Jade Cargill.
Okay.
I said Toni Storm.
Yeah. Yeah, you could put her over Storm, but then Toni Storm's dead.
It doesn't matter.
So
hey, you want the women's division to survive, or you want Toni Storm to survive?
Yeah.
What do you
want?
The
thing is, they screwed Athena. They screwed Ruby Soho. So then Tony's like, oh, I got Toni Storm. I love her. Let me do the right thing by her and put her over. The problem is she didn't have the same heat that Athena and Ruby Soho had. She came in dull, not too interesting, and they put her over. And it's like, no, it's too late, Toni. You had 2 other chances. Now it's third time around. It's not as hot. So
no.
Now you should have done it the first 2 times so that people when Toni Storm came in.
Yeah.
Right. If you had done it with Ruby Soho right away and you put her over Britt Baker, it wouldn't have hurt Britt Baker. And then when new people come in, you would actually believe they have a chance to win the title. Now this is the 3rd time, and it's like, okay, she won. Nobody really cares. So
100%.
That it's bad booking. It's not the women at all. I think Toni Storm's talented. I think a lot of these women are talented and can talk.
The match wasn't that bad. the match wasn't that bad. The women tried. The match
it wasn't that bad. Sheeta tried. I mean, it was good.
It was just bad booking, and just the way the pay-per-view was.
Tony Khan screwed this up. He screwed this
100%,
up.
100%.
From the booking of Thunder Rosa with the title to having her cry in a short interview, which people pointed out, and it was the reason he responded to her having a short promo and Punk having a 10-minute one when he lost his title, to not sure if it's interim or completely stripped of the title, to then burying Thunder Rosa before the pay-per-view. Yes, I know, but they didn't make it clear. Yes, I know. They did afterwards, but when Rosa did the interview, she didn't sound sure at all.
Yeah, no, she didn't sound sure. You're right.
To then Tony basically burying her before the pay-per-view. It's like, why would I want to watch Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm now? Why would I want to watch it? There's no interest at all. Why would I want to watch those two in the ring?
For a long time, Thunder Rosa's injured, right? So
yeah,
there's gonna have to be some surprise, or
you want to know how you turn Thunder. You want to know how you make Thunder Rosa back again? Make her heel.
Oh, she's gonna have to come back as a heel. I don't think there's any question to make her more interesting. Yeah,
and put her with the manager. That's it. Simple to do it.
Tony is, and I don't know if it's just Tony or Kenny Omega's involved in the women's division, from what I understand, but they really screwed. There's no interest in this division, and there's no one over enough to convince you that they can beat Jade Cargill and or make the title interesting, other than Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, which is going to be more interesting than any title match that Tony Storm has. So, boy, oh boy, they got some work to do, guys. But we'll move on and not waste any more time on this women's division right now. We'll get to a match that disappointed Jose, but I will explain why he doesn't need to be disappointed. This was a 24-second match, a match that I told you was going to happen. Everyone who didn't see this coming should have seen it coming with the way it was booked the last month. But adding to this was Cage's injury. So we'll start off with Cage being slapped by the family. That was a great part when he came out. Yeah. Jungle Boy's mom slapped him in the face. He waits in the ring. He clearly has a Stone Cold Steve Austin armband on, like it's clear he's injured, but they haven't really told you he's injured.
But they sold it as Jungle Boy. They sold it as Jungle Boy
messed up his arm, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But they didn't want you to know he was hurt for real. But I found out after because I was as confused as today. Why did this match go 24 seconds? That Cage was indeed injured. Luchasaurus comes out, absolutely destroys Christian Cage with one of the best choke slams. Jungle Boy. One of the best choke slams I've ever seen. Just throws him onto the tarp, the steel gate there, and just stuff goes flying in the air. It looked like he killed Jungle Boy with this. Luchasaurus, you get the golf clap. That was great. Then, I mean, he just lies there, and it looked like he killed this guy. Like Christian's just smiling in the ring, and I'm like, what a great heel. He's just laughing in the ring. So they just
if you noticed, Jungle Boy's back was actually it was actually the indent of the steel of the cage were in his back. So
this was planned and great. Like it couldn't have been done any better.
Yeah.
And then just for good measure, Luchasaurus drags him to the I guess ring area
ringside
and just power bombs him through this table. Just Jungle Boy looked dead. Great selling, but also just Luchasaurus just looked like a crazy monster here. He's never been more interesting, and I'm glad they went back to him as a heel. He puts Jungle Boy in the ring. Aubrey does her best Earl Hebner impersonation here and goes up to Jungle Boy and says, I can end the match. I don't have to start it. It's okay. And Jungle Boy's dead. Like he's just trying to drag himself up here. He says, ring the bell. I believe Cage immediately spears him.
Yeah.
Kick out by Jungle Boy to show just a little bit of life. Cage immediately gets up, gives him the kill switch. Done. No, 1, 2, 3, dead. Jungle Boy just is done, just destroyed by Luchasaurus and Christian Cage. I know, Jose, you were disappointed, but Cage was hurt. That's why he couldn't work. And so they had to do this angle. They were going to do it anyway, probably have a 10-minute match, 20-minute match, and then do this, but they had to shorten it. I thought this was done excellently well, despite the fact it was a short match. I thought this was great. Jose, what do you think now that I've told you what happened?
Well, like I didn't know that Christian Cage was injured, right?
I understand. I was disappointed too. It was 24 seconds. Trust me.
I like the possibility of the heel turn by Luchasaurus on him, but I thought they would wrestle and then maybe at the end he would come out and power bomb him and do something, but not like they didn't get the fight. Then they hyped up the fight so much the match, and then to happen like that, like I thought it was stupid. But then it's just a new storyline with Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. So since Christian Cage is not going to be able to wrestle for a little while now, so they just put that. I guess so. That's the next matchup. I guess so.
This is how you book a non-title feud. Isn't it amazing, Barbosa, how we have 3 non-title feuds that are more interesting than title feuds?
100%.
Hayter and Baker, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, which will eventually lead to Christian Cage. And Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. Those are the 3 most interesting, other than the main title match, which kind of lost a little bit of its luster. These are the most interesting matches on the show, which I find very interesting. But got to do something about that, Tony. Those titles, gotta make them more important than this. You got 5 titles right now that mean absolutely nothing. They're
way
dead.
more than that. He's got way more than that.
The Atlantic title, the FTW title, the tag titles, the TNT title, and the
TBS and the women's title.
Both women's titles are dead. There's no interest in them at all. Thank God the world title has interest, but we know why that is. So now we get to I like this match. It's not about the match. The booking of this makes 0 sense to me. Now we're all going to disagree on this, but I'll get into it. Danielson versus Jericho. Jericho comes out as the Lionheart. Great entrance. I'm glad they didn't play his music finally. They gave him the Lionheart song. Brian Danielson came out with what's this guy's name again? Elliot Taylor singing his song, which was, I guess, the musical part of All Out, which we get every year. Got a good handshake, and obviously he's one of Brian's friends, so it made sense. We had our usual. We had a really good wrestling match. Like, if you like wrestling, this was a wrestling match. Not a lot of high spots. Just a really good wrestling match.
Yeah, just technical.
We had a million near falls or close pins and the close tap outs by the Lion Tamer, the Walls of Jericho. We also had the label block put on multiple times. We also had the Yugi Utami put on. We had a Dragon Sleeper at one point, I think. We also had the Google Plata put on. All of them were near falls. Very well done. The ending of this match sucked, in my opinion. We had I'm just going to give you my opinion, and I know you guys are going to go and it's going to be different. After all of this great wrestling and great match, and I get why they did it because of the storyline with Daniel Garcia. I understand that. But if you're a Brian Danielson fan and you've watched the way he's been booked in the last couple of months, this is not good for him. He gets low blowed.
I agree with that.
He gets low blowed. One Judas effect, and he's pinned. We're talking about Brian Danielson, a guy who went 30 minutes with Omega, kicks out of everything, was one of the best heels in the company for 2 months, is supposed to be on the Blackpool Combat Club, and Moxley's booked like a guy who can't lose every week, and is booked like he can't be broken. And Danielson gets booked like this. It doesn't make any sense to me. Danielson has now been pinned by Jericho, Moxley, Hangman Adam Page, and he's at Daniel Garcia, and he's at a draw with Omega. Brian Danielson has not had a significant win in this company since he's been here. And he's one of the biggest stars that AEW's brought over here. You've got the way CM Punk is being booked, which is great and fine. And then you've got Brian Danielson on the other end. I'm sorry, doesn't cut it. You got to book him better and put him at the level of CM Punk, or pretty soon CM Punk's going to have no one to fight. Because after MJF, who are you going to then? So I'll go to Barbosa first, and I know Jose's got a lot to say about this. I didn't like the ending of this match. I didn't like the booking of this match. You could have easily had Brian go over and still do the storyline. Barbosa, what do you think?
It doesn't. okay, I get, I agree with you how they booked Danielson, and this match. They should have put him in the Judas Effect and the Lion Tamer. That's how they should have ended,
like
with the low blow.
I mean,
100% with the low blow because of the storyline.
Yeah,
it was done.
He was beaten too easily here.
Yeah, okay, exactly. But the booking of the match, the ending, how they booked it, that's the perfect way to book it. Because like I told you, they're building Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
And you see Daniel Garcia's face right after the match.
Yeah,
and
shaking
his head, and he's like,
yeah.
And then the Jericho, man, this name is
the
terrible.
JAS. The JAS. It's called the JAS.
Came out to celebrate minus Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
Which, and then obviously is going to set up. I think it's going to set up a Daniel Garcia Jericho match down the line.
Yeah, there will be a rematch because of the cheating, and Brian will eventually get. He will get a win, but it's like, man, they've had him lose so much. It's like that guy's got to be a world championship contender, and they've booked the shit out of him. Jose, what do you think?
100%. I think they're just wasting his talent, losing matches like that. And the way it was, I totally agree with you. I think
Jericho's not going to be a world champion after this. So why are you booking him to beat everybody? I don't get it.
I guess it's because of he's a sports entertainment, that maybe that's why they gave him the Judas Effect, because it was a good wrestling match. They had a couple, and so they had to make him a sports entertainer. So they give him the Judas Effect to finish the match, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's like Tony said, it's just for him to fight Daniel Garcia soon. They'll have another match, a rematch with Danielson winning, and then after maybe they'll do like one of those best out of 3 or 60-man or whatever 30-man iron match or something like that. But I think it was stupid. The way it ended, it was dumb. But it's true. They are wasting Danielson's talent, man, and him losing all these matches. It's just stupidity, man. At least have him fighting for a title or something like that.
I mean, they have 2 big stars. They've got Punk and they got Brian. They can only book one like Punk, but that doesn't mean you have to book Brian like a jobber. And that's the issue I have. What they did with Brian earlier in the year when they booked him like the best heel in the company, he was just beating everyone. That's the way you keep him hot and ready. Or you pull the MJF and you don't put him in the ring as much. And with his injury history, you could have done that. Just he's a special attraction. You don't bring him out every week. But they've messed him up, and I think that they have a lot of work to do to recover him, to make him eventually a world championship contender and possibly face Punk. I mean, Punk's going to need an opponent, and he's probably going to be it, because there's not much else outside of MJF that's fighting him. So we'll see. 2, I'm going to rename these guys the House of Dead. They took on Sting Darby. I know Barbosa's so mad. They took on Sting, Darby, and Miro. As I told Barbosa, the House of Black is the House of Dead after this, because they're not winning this match. They weren't winning the trios titles. And now we know why. Because Malachi Black wants to leave wrestling. He had a pretty serious back injury, and he just seems to be disenchanted by wrestling right now. Some say it's a back injury. I will say it's his booking and the fact that he got to do his own thing and it hasn't worked. I'll say
and it's not to his fault either.
No, it's bad booking.
Terrible.
It's terrible booking.
Terrible. Terrible. Tony Khan, I'll say it, terrible.
Yeah.
The talent.
I said this, me and Barbosa did this show when we first started the show. I said to him, when he lost to Cody Rhodes, that was the end of Malachi Black. And Tony Barbosa says, nah, don't worry, he'll be fine. You'll rebook him. So they made the House of Black. And
you had something with the House of Black. You had a stable.
Yeah.
This should have been rival to the Wyatt family. This should have been a stable as hot as the Wyatt family, if not better. The way the whole presentation of this, and Malachi Black is such a good work. Brody King is amazing. And then you had Buddy. So terrible.
Yeah. I knew something was wrong when they started focusing so much single wrestling on Brody King. I knew something was wrong with Malachi Black. Buddy Murphy's just the extra guy there. They've done nothing with Julia Hart. Nothing. She turned, and she hasn't even been in a match on Dynamite or Rampage. They've done nothing with her. So the stable's dead. They had. I'll make this quick. There wasn't too much to this match. The usual Sting hot tag. Darby doing his crazy dive through the second rope, a move I love. He missed a coffin drop at one point. There was a big stare down with Sting, Sting Malachi and Malachi Black. That was fun. Here's where you know Malachi Black's dead. Sting hits him with the mist, his own move, and then Darby pins him. Malachi Black is dead, people, and I don't mean Undertaker dead. I mean dead. He must be leaving the company because he wouldn't have taken the pin. I agree with Barbosa. They should have been earmarked to win the trios titles, but because 100%. Of the EVPs and Kenny Omega's return, I think Tony had a choice. He either goes with them or goes with a team that's already pretty much dead. And so
I don't care if they're the EVPs or not.
Yeah.
You have something gold. That's gold.
Yeah.
And you go and blow it.
Yeah.
They've been blowing the House of Black for months. Not just the trios title. The trios tournament just completely killed it.
Yeah.
But it was terrible for months already. Terrible.
Yeah, this team's dead. I think Brody King's going to go on his own, and he could very well make an opponent for a lot of guys.
Where I'm telling you, remember with the Dark Order, I was telling you where it's going to go.
Yeah,
I think you're going to have both factions come together. You need to.
Okay.
That's how you want to get going. And Brody
we'll see.
He's got to be the leader. Now Brody King's got to be the leader.
We'll see, but I think both the Dark Order and this team are dead, and you could put them together, they'll be double dead. So I don't think there'll be any interest if they're together.
If you book them correctly, you can salvage it, but you got to book it correctly. Okay. If you don't book it correctly, obviously, and you have 6 talented people, 7 Julia Hart, she's not bad, and you're just wasting their talent, doing nothing.
Yeah,
you gotta do something, especially with the Dark Order. They look like they were heels. They look like they were heels. Might as well put them together. Create another faction. You need to create factions now because there's too many factions now happening. You need to create another one.
Jose, what did you think of this?
It was okay. It wasn't that great of a match, but I don't know. It's just like maybe with Malachi Black leaving and stuff like that. So I guess maybe that's why they had him losing and stuff. I mean, that's why they're probably not even booked as much as they should be. Maybe that's why Tony Khan's probably trying to punish him for something like that. So, but
well, that's
happy and salivating right now is Triple H. He's salivating.
Yeah. You know what though? I think that if I believe Malachi Black when he says that he's leaving wrestling and he's not going to WWE. I believe him. First of all, he's got a 5-year contract, and so he's not going to get released. Which means if he takes time off, he'll be back. Tony Khan's not going to release guys. He's made that very clear, and that's why the lawyer got sent over there. But I think that they couldn't, even if you take all that aside, there was no way Miro was losing this match. And Sting and Darby have never lost as a team. So I never thought they were going to lose anyway.
This whole thing with Miro and the House of Black, it just came out of nowhere. It's just weird. It was.
I don't see him joining them. Yeah.
It was just
I think Miro's next thing is going to be against Darby Allin. See how he didn't want to tag him inside.
Not again.
They've already faced each other, though, right?
I don't want to see that again. I don't need to see that again.
Yeah.
So what are you going to put?
You got to build Miro back up as a dominant force again, like he did in the beginning when they brought him in. Again, bad booking again.
Yeah.
You got to build him up.
Yeah, them taking the title off of him, giving the title to Sammy Guevara off of Miro might have been the worst thing they could have done because the title got lost meaning and it lost credibility and it killed Miro. So, yeah, they got some work to do with him too. This is what I mean. You got a lot of talent, but it can just sit there and grow mold if you don't build it right and you don't take care of them. So this is probably why there's a lot of stuff going on backstage too. So, that was that. And now finally we get to the main event.
Then you got the Daniel Garcia promo.
We'll do the Daniel Garcia. Important. Yeah, go ahead. We'll do the Daniel Garcia promo. I didn't write it down.
The Daniel Garcia promo, they were asking him how he felt. And then Jericho came in and he's like, oh, how come you weren't out there to join my celebration with the rest of the group? now you're having your biggest match of your career on Wednesday, and don't expect the JAS to come out and save you. It goes, Jericho is not going to be there to help you. So that was a cool little tease of what's coming down the road.
So obviously that means Garcia will probably win on his own, and that will further the feud.
I hope not.
But again, we'll see.
I don't want to take the title off Yuta right now.
I have a feeling that's where they're going. Because
listen.
You have to put more interest in Garcia, right?
One single swoop, you're gonna make the Blackpool Combat Club look dead. Look dead if you do that.
No, I think it's like Tony. I think Jericho turns his back on Garcia, and they start beating them up, and then he joins the Comeback Club.
Garcia. Yeah, because you have Brian Danielson losing at the pay-per-view, you have Moxley losing, and then you have Wheeler Yuta losing. Oh my god, what would that do for they're gonna look weak. You're building a strong stable there.
Don't be surprised if that's what happens, because who wants to be the most strongest looking best team? The BVPs. How do you do that? You bury everybody else.
No, okay, listen.
Dark Order, Best Friends, Blackpool Combat Club, House of Black. They have no opponents for these trios titles because they buried everyone. It's ridiculous. What are you going to have a face QT Marshall's team for the titles?
Yeah, the factory, yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. They're going to have these titles, going to walk around with them like they're trophies, and they're not going to be able to face anybody because they buried everyone else. Like, it's just, I have no, like, the natural thing would have been the team that's hurt. Obviously, they're out. That storyline's, you can't do it now. No. But the Blackpool Combat Club would have been guys in line for those titles. And the way they're booking Mox and Brian right now, that might be the only direction you can go. Because MGF's next, Mox just lost the title. So
and you're gonna make Yuta lose the title again? You're gonna make Yuta lose a title? That's gonna look so bad.
I mean, what I could see is, but you're not gonna have, the problem is you're not gonna go to Blackpool Combat Club first, because they're not going to lose the titles right away, but you do want to get to them eventually. I could see Claudio, Mox, and Brian. What a trio that would be, winning the titles. But it has to be down the road.
You gotta get Yuta. Because you need to push Yuta. He's the next guy coming up, right? You need to build that young talent. Mm-hmm. You're gonna be, like I said, then you're going back to the WWE back in the day, where you build no young talent, and you had all these guys just fighting each other, 10 matches.
Speaking of a guy who can be an opponent for the TNT and the world title, Claudio. Hello, build him up and get him in those matches. Like, there'll be amazing matches with Claudio, right?
But
like,
got the ROH title, so he's not like
but
in the future.
This is what I mean, man. Like, you have way too many titles. You have way too many titles going on. If you're not gonna do the ROH separate, it's stupid.
They gotta separate the roster, man. There's
too many people.
It's going to happen, but they're waiting to get the deal with HBO Max, and then we'll see a roster split. So there is too much talent right now, and they're gonna have to split it up, and they will. They're just in a tough spot right now. So now to the main event, and boy, oh boy, did this match have a lot going on. I wasn't a fan of the way they did the match on Wednesday. I did get it afterwards because it set up the Punk angle after, which Tony was not a fan of, but I understood the emotional part of it and having someone come out to pump Puck up, and so that was fine. But it all set up this, to me, what was going to be an obvious finish, which was Punk winning in his hometown and winning the title. But what was interesting was they teased it right away. Punk getting a quick pin on Mox, but Mox kicks out. And I'll say this again: I've never seen a guy booked as well as Mox has been by a company.
That's the only thing that's been booked correctly.
I mean, Mox has been booked like a monster since the day he got there. Even when he loses, he looks good. They protect Moxley more than any wrestler in that company.
Agreed.
So he kicks out, and then we get the match. Loud dueling chants, which you would be surprised in Chicago. Normally, Chicago is a pro Punk crowd, but it was mixture of chants. Mox was clearly playing the heel here, even though he was getting a mixture of cheers.
Even Taz made it on commentary. Even Taz goes, if it was anywhere else, or if Moxley wasn't fighting Punk, you'd be getting cheered.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, I think it would have been dueling chants anywhere else. This was a crowd that was trying to pump Punk up, but it was surprising that Mox got as much as he did. I don't want to go through the whole match. It was the match was fine.
Bloody mess.
It was bloody as all Mox matches are. And basically what happened was Punk got 2 GTSs for the win. Punk also kicked out of a Death Rider. And so the finish that we expected happened. What was interesting about this match, which is why I didn't write anything else down, was what happened after the match. The lights go out immediately, and I mean immediately. Now, I want to mention this as I didn't want to give it away, but if you watch the Casino Battle Royal and you watch the way this man gets in the ring, you'll know who's coming out. Jose beat us to the punch and said this was going to happen, and it did. We have loud MJF chants before he even comes out.
And when the lights go out,
like immediately, everyone is expecting to be him. They do a really cool thing where they play a voicemail by Tony Khan asking MJF to come back, saying he's going to pay him but not extend his contract to keep that storyline alive. And MJF shows up.
No. He used Punk's promo in ROH. So this promo that he used,
correct.
It was perfect because he said, Punk. This was the time that Punk was leaving ROH.
The WWE. Devil promo, yes.
Yeah, and he won the title. They said it was his last night in ROH, and he won the title. And then he was a face, like he was full blown face at this time. And then on that promo, he turned heel because he said he was going to take the title to WWE. He's going to sign his contract on the title. So he was like, that's why it made perfect sense for the promo. I loved it. Loved it. The storyline. They're using that promo about the devil.
You can tell what Tony Khan is focusing on and what Tony Khan is not focusing on when you watch this show. What he's really into is great, and what he's not into is terrible. And there's no in between. Yeah. So that's what you're gonna get, guys. He loves CM Punk. He's into CM Punk, and same thing with Mox, and that's what you got here. So you're right to point that out.
And this MJF and Tony Khan, this is a work, guys. This is not real, man.
For all those who thought that he was really leaving, like you need to check your wrestling fan, badge at the door, because it was a work from the start. He was never going to leave for the WWE. It was all a work. He wanted time off. That's all it was.
Khan and MJF playing the internet.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. And they all think we're marks. They all think we're stupid. But again, if you look at the way he left, it was obviously a work. He wanted time off. He'd been working for a while, and he needed a freshening up. And boy, oh boy, did it work. Because the minute that the fans saw that scarf, it was an eruption of cheers. I'll go as far as to say that it was a bigger cheer than what Punk got when he came out to the ring. And this is Chicago. He comes out with his music, immediately gets huge cheers. Like it was like a baby face coming back from a long layoff. MJF soaks it in at first, does a quick promo about him being next to take out Punk, and then just does the best thing that a heel could ever do and flips off all the fans and leaves. Great. Is there anything I missed on the promo, Tony? That other than him, taking out Punk?
That's great.
He takes off the mask, right? Go ahead.
No. So then you know who the real Joker was when they won the Battle Royale, whatever the thing's called.
And the best is I'm the devil himself. He says I'm the devil himself.
Nice quick promo to the point, nothing crazy because he wants to save his ammo for Wednesday. But again, like the way if you watch if you ever watched MJF when he gets into the ring, he does that quick little stutter step where he rubs his feet on the ropes and goes into the ring quickly.
Even the walk,
you could know it was him.
Notice it's him.
Yeah. So
and this was set up nicely for their feud. beautifully done.
Yeah. It's it's number 3, right? This is the rubber match.
Yeah. But
do you the title to MGF?
Or you have to put the title on MJF now. If you don't put the title on MJF,
so what was the point of title on CM Punk then? If you just should with Moxley.
I do not believe there's zero chance that CM Punk is losing this match to MJF. Zero chance.
Then you're taking your biggest. This is your best homegrown character, your biggest homegrown character.
Yes,
and you're gonna kill it.
CM Punk is not just some guy either.
Hey, listen. This is where I have a big problem with what happened on Saturday night. Okay,
right.
This is what I had a huge problem. What happened with CM Punk? And I love CM Punk. I'm a big Punk fan. Right. What was supposed to be the biggest storyline in their company, Punk buried it right after the pay-per-view. He made it all about himself. This is why I said Punk is selfish. Okay, and what he said, I don't agree with the whole situation in the
listen, he didn't conference. Not selfish.
Yes, he did. Yes, how can you not say the next selfish?
He was just trying to clear himself of.
It doesn't matter. You don't do it right there, Jose. Your biggest. This is supposed to be your biggest pay-per-view of the year. All Out is supposed to be your biggest pay-per-view of the year, and this is supposed to be their biggest storyline in years. Okay, and you buried it right away after the pay-per-view.
No, he didn't.
That's not selfish. Sure, it is. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about MJF right now. Nobody's talking about MJF.
I don't think CM Punk, Tony Khan, or MJF are worried about that at all.
Man,
what?
MJF will go out there Wednesday, and he'll put all the focus back on him.
Tony Khan looked foolish at that press conference. If you ask me,
Khan didn't stop him, and there's a reason he didn't stop him.
Because Punk didn't let him either. It was just foolish. And
go ahead, Jose.
Trust me, I love CM Punk, but man, look bad on the company.
That press conference
was just bad on the company.
Trying to clear his name. All the shit that's been happening about what happened with Cole and that stuff with Omega and the Bucks and stuff like that. He's just trying to clear his name.
There's a time and place to do it. That wasn't it.
Yeah,
that was not it.
So
nobody was talking about MJF after. That's what everybody was supposed to be talking about, was MJF setting up this program. Nobody was talking about.
I don't think this takes anything away from MJF or the focus at all. I don't think it does at all.
It took it away.
Right? MJF will go out on Wednesday and make sure everybody's talking about him. It's not
the same. And I'm telling you this right now.
Like, this is not on CM Punk.
You just made MJF your biggest babyface in one single night. You just made him your biggest babyface.
Well, he was already a babyface when he came out.
He's gonna even bigger. This is gonna be a Stone Cold pop like you've never seen before.
Hey, that might not be a bad thing. It might not be a bad thing. If Punk ends up being a heel because of this, it's not a bad thing for you, and it's not a bad thing for AEW.
You gotta write it exactly 100%. You gotta write it
now.
When you have
if this is anyone else other than MJF, I agree with you. MJF will have zero problem putting the focus on him after. Number two, the blame for this is 100% on the Elite and Hangman Page.
I don't agree.
There's a reason why Cody Rhodes left. This started before CM Punk. These guys were doing this shit before CM Punk was around. They were messing with Cody and messing with other guys on the roster, and they were putting stuff out there to piss guys off. This is not CM Punk coming into the company causing all this shit. Hangman Page took it upon himself to go out and do business for himself, take focus off of their feud, and make it about himself and the company. That's what happened, right? He made it about the AEW and the locker room in the back. He cut the promo first, without Punk's knowledge.
What did he say about?
He said, "I'm fighting for AEW. I'm fighting for AEW and all the guys in the back to get rid of you." It was a promo. It was a shoot promo.
Listen, what was the Eddie Kingston promo? When he feuded with CM Punk, what was the Eddie Kingston promo? Same thing with Daniel Bryan.
That was between him and Kingston. It wasn't about the company. It wasn't about guys in the back.
He did. He mentioned Eddie's Kingston's promo was, you got all these ex-WWE guys coming in here. I'm gonna take them all out. That's exactly what he said.
Adam Page shot at him. It's a different thing altogether.
That's not true. That's not
right. And let's face it, Punk gave it back to him, and that's fine. But here's my thing with Punk.
It should have been left.
Punk should be allowed to say what he wants when he wants to cover his own ass. That's if he says nothing and lets these guys run him over, that makes him look worse than when he defends himself.
Absolutely.
Listen.
Now the stuff after that is that's different. I'm just talking about what he said.
All I know is it made Tony Khan look foolish that night, and AEW look foolish that night.
Yeah, you could say that, but it could turn into something good, or it could be really, really bad. Right now, it looks really, really bad. But I don't blame Punk for saying what he said. I don't. And
I'm not
everything he said about Hangman Page, I completely agree with him.
Listen, I'm not saying what he said was out of line. I'm not saying was out of line. It's just how the timing of how he said it.
Would you rather have gone out on live TV and done it like Hangman Page?
No, I'm not saying do on live.
The press conference is a better time than any other time.
No, not after a pay-per-view, not after your biggest pay-per-view of the year, and you're going right. Like, listen, that all you have to do is Punk. All you have to say is no comment. I'll save it for another day. That's it, because you're killing that momentum from that pay-per-view.
Well, Tony Khan screwed up too, MJF. Because if you listen to the press conference, and we're going to get into it with Gary Joe about this because he's going to come on, but like. Tony Khan basically said, I should have handled this when I was asked about it, and he didn't.
100%.
So it could have been curbed right there, but Tony didn't address it.
It looks bad on Tony Khan. It looks bad at him as a leader. You're supposed to be the leader of this wrestling organization. It's a huge wrestling organization. You're supposed to be the leader, and you're handling it very, very poorly.
I mean, if you look at some of the things that he's done with MGF, with the shoot promos, it's not the first time. I'm sure there was a lot that MJF did that wasn't sanctioned when he left the company for a few months.
A lot of stuff that MJF said in his promos is the truth. That's how many people feel backstage.
Right.
100%.
Right. And if you're gonna play that line, then you're gonna have people to go over it.
But I'm telling you this: the locker room, I wouldn't want to be in that locker room because
it's
not gonna be.
For us, it's hot. For them, it's whoa. It's terrible. You know.
Terrible.
But we will see what happens. Jose, I know I want to let you get your piece on this because I know you were quite passionate about it. And then we're gonna have Gary Joe on to get his thoughts. What do you think of this? The aftermath.
Listen, the aftermath was simple. The reporter asked him something, and he just wanted to tell the reporters his side of the story. And he found it at I think it was the perfect spot, especially at the press conference after the biggest pay-per-view, after he just finishes the title. That was the perfect spot. He's not going to have any other chance to express himself and to explain what happened. And it's true. All this bullshit. I think they're just jealous of CM Punk coming in and taking over the business.
See, this is where you guys are
He's
wrong.
been a major draw in major business.
They've been pushing for Punk to come in for a long time,
Correct.
And the Young Bucks, okay? I'm talking about the Bucks. I don't know so much Kenny Omega, but I know the Bucks have been pushing for Punk to come in.
Cody was a big proponent of him coming in early in the company.
Yeah, early in the company, right?
Yeah.
They wanted him to come in. So to say,
I think this is more Tony and Cody than it was the Bucks and Omega. Everything that I've read is Tony and Cody were the guys trying to get him.
Yeah, 100%. And to tell you the honest truth, you know what makes Tony Khan look like a mark. This makes Tony Khan.
Well, there are a lot of people who think he is a mark.
100%. If you're gonna run a company, listen, buddy, feelings aside, because.
But this is not the first time. Everyone's acting like this is something that doesn't happen. This has happened in WWE. Like
100%.
Yeah, Vince McMahon was.
Hey, but you had a guy in the locker room that was a leader and squashed that shit right away.
No, you had Bret Hart get screwed by that's what happened.
You had Undertaker. But you had Undertaker. You don't have nobody in the locker room right there.
No, you don't have an Undertaker, but Undertaker was someone who also politically went to make sure his wife got into WrestleMania. So look, it's no one is above it. Okay, no one's above being political.
Listen.
Hulk Hogan's one of the biggest dirtbags in wrestling when it comes to being political and not putting guys over and being personal.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So this is 100%. Not CM Punk by himself, the only guy who's ever done this. What he did was he told the truth. He wanted to get it off his chest. He's probably been holding it in for months. He had this serious injury that happened that he said could have ended his career. He was pissed and he wanted to get it out and stop being asked these questions about Hangman Adam Page, Scott Colton.
All you have to say, all you have to say is, I don't want to talk about somebody that doesn't work here. I don't want to talk about. That's not going to help him. That's not going to help him. They're going to keep asking. They're going to keep bothering the guy. They're going to keep spreading rumors. You have when someone spreads rumors about you, you got to get the truth out, and that's what he did.
Absolutely. That's why he talked out, and this bullshit with.
But that's Punk's truth. We don't know the truth.
Okay.
Punk's truth.
Okay.
There's his side of the story.
Agreed.
The Buck side of the story.
Agreed.
And then in the middle, there's the truth.
Yeah.
But there's 3 sides to every story.
Yes. But to me, I didn't get the sense at all that Punk was lying. It looked like he was completely telling the truth.
And even Tony was nodding and agreeing with him when he was talking about the Colt Cabana situation.
That's the Colt Cabana. That's different. Okay. With Colt Cabana, there was
100% facts.
That's real. That's 100% real.
And he didn't get him fired. He's at ROH. He's fucking wrestling there. Like it's
not. He didn't get him fired. He's not fired. He's still part of the AEW roster. He's not fired.
That's where all this started.
Part of the roster.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing is, Punk should have just left it at the Colt Cabana. He didn't have to include. Listen, he didn't have to include those guys in saying because of those guys it got leaked. He's basically blaming the Bucks and Kenny Omega that it got leaked.
He's blaming them because that's probably he found out who leaked the information.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
But that's not how you do it.
Listen,
I don't think Punk does this unless he knows for a fact that Hangman and his friends
Punk is very methodical. He's not a stupid guy.
Right.
He's a smart guy.
A person without knowing it's them.
Like that podcast he did with Colt Cabana. I listened to that thing a few times, and the WWE tried to sue him and say he was lying. And I go back and listen to that and found out what happened in the lawsuit. Not a single thing Punk said on that show was not true. And he won the lawsuit because everything he said was the truth. So you want me to say that he's lying about anything he said? I believe every word he said. I believe that the EVPs are doing this. They've been doing it to other guys on the roster as well. It's one of the reasons why Cody left. Their egos are out of control. And Hangman basically did it in the back and on live TV, and then Punk responded. And if I'm CM Punk, I'm doing the same thing. I'm not letting these guys run me over and be jerks. I'm not going to let them do that.
I told you guys that. I told you when the trios tournament happened. This is a big ego fest. That's all it is for the Bucks. And I said it.
And for Punk.
And I agree with you guys.
Yeah.
This was a big ego fest.
Yeah.
Listen.
And Punk's ego got bigger. That's all.
That's the problem. Therein lies the problem.
Punk is not going to be one of those guys who sits down and says, "Oh my God, I might get fired." No, he's the biggest ratings draw and the biggest pay-per-view draw in the company. It's not going anywhere.
But you don't have Moxley going out and doing this. You don't have Daniel Bryan.
Look how Moxley's booked. They're not going to go after Moxley.
Listen, Reese.
This is a personal vendetta.
100. But there's a time and place for it. I just thought that wasn't the place, especially right after the biggest storyline, like I told you, in the company's, I would say the second biggest storyline in the company's history.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that. I'm sorry.
I don't think it will affect the MJF feud at all. Not at all.
And CM Punk.
Those two being in the ring alone or on a microphone will get all the interest back. Dude, I'm not worried about that at all. This will not be a distraction to that feud at all. And MJF and CM Punk in a ring together or with microphones in their hands.
My God.
Trust me when I tell you, there will be this will not have any fact at all in this match.
Too real. Because Punk called them a piece of shit.
Who?
Yeah.
MJF?
Called MJF a piece of shit.
And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. They're going to go at each other. I think that was all a work, though. The MJF stuff was all a work. That wasn't real.
But Those are the two best guys on the mic in AEW. It's going to be fun.
If you remember their first feud, it got real personal in the first feud, but it was all okay. It was all worked. They could say what they wanted about each other. This happened with Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. It was all a work until it wasn't. So, I mean,
there you go.
So listen,
I don't think it's a work anymore.
MJF's not going to back off. CM Punk's not going to back off. And I'm telling you right now, Tony Khan wants that line, and he wants it to be crossed. If Tony Khan didn't want this, he would have said something. He would have cut off the 100%. Reporter. He would have cut off Punk. Punk, obviously, to me, Punk wanted to get this out and told Tony he was going to get it out.
Listen.
There's no way Tony Khan's sitting like an idiot, not letting him say this. If Tony Khan didn't want him to say this.
Listen, and I'm sure Tony Khan has had his issues with the Bucks and Omega, 100%.
Yeah,
I'm not disputing that.
Because I think Punk told Tony he was going to say this. I don't think Tony didn't know.
Their egos are pretty bad.
Yeah,
because like I said, I like I mentioned to you about FTR, like I mentioned to you about the trios.
Yeah,
the way it was booked, it is. But Tony Khan, as a leader, buddy, he's got to stand for the listen. I run the show, but the money that's here is mine, not yours.
Well, okay? I think he's
for him to be a leader.
I think he's getting there now with the lawyer and the contracts, and it's just now it's about how does he handle this situation. But guys, that's what we think. We're gonna bring on our friend Gary Joe, and we're gonna get to this more because he might have some inside knowledge for us that might help us sort out our own feelings about this. So we'll be right back with Gary Joe, and we'll continue this in a moment.